Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. So what's happening in Pakistan? There is lull before the storm. That lull came and went and there appears to be a storm on the horizon. Remember, we've been talking about the fact that the army seems to be divided as pro-Imran and pro others. And now we are hearing that Faiz Hamid, the ex-ISI officer, might be joining politics now that he is retired, except that he may not be able to come to power. There are some restrictions, like in terms of time. To know all about this, plus the attacks that Pakistan is getting from its western side, let's welcome Major Madan Kumar, our expert on Pakistan, Afghanistan, as well as China, and just about anything that I can think of about geopolitical security. Major Madan, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel.
Namaskaram, sir. Namaskaram. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind to you, sir. And Major Madan, you can do a starting statement and then I can kind of lay out what is happening on the back end in terms of the machinations of the ISI. But first, I'd like you to, make an opening statement. We'll have about 30 minutes of talk, and then afterwards we can open the floor for questions. Do send in your questions using the hashtag AskMadan, and please like this video. Major Madan, take it away, sir.
Thank you, sir. And first of all, wishing you very happy Vijay Divas Day, and wishing
Thank
all the
you, and same
people
to you.
subscribers a very happy Vijay Divas Day. It's the 50th year, and it's been it was a war which was which will be etched in the Indian history and in the Bangladesh history forever, and even in Pakistanis. 93,000 soldiers surrendering, and it's been unheard of. So with that note, a happy Vijay Divas Day, Pakistanis too. So they'll come and troll here. So let's start with the updates about what's happening there. So when we were discussing about geopolitics with one of my good friends, so I told him that the viewership about geopolitics is more biased towards men, because women are not, because that's what the Google Analytics says. 10% viewership from women and 90% from men. Why is it so? So he told me, see, the thing is, in the geopolitics is a bit more serious, and it doesn't have much of a spice and the excitement and entertainment. So possibly women would not be seeing it. Then I told him, no, when we speak about Pakistan, it is much more than Big Boss or any other casting serials which you'll get to see on Netflix or TV, because it's so spiced up, it is so mixed up, and it's so this thing you can actually, you'll have fun, you'll have all five emotions of human being and classify it into one thing. With that note, uh, uh, Faiz Hamid, yeah, with the ISA chief with a nicely suited attire. We saw him in Kabul last year. I was holding a cup of tea and said, all is okay. That's how the world came to know about him. Even before that, we had discussed about him and possible ISI successor, whether it was him or Nadeem. And later he turned out to be the corps commander of Bawalpur Corps. So we had discussed about his past and his adventures in a hotel room. So we can revisit that video if you want. So basically, there was a clash between the Haqqanis and the core Taliban, where Faiz Ahmad was sent to mediate, and he successfully did that. That's where we saw that photograph of him holding a cup of tea. He said, "All is well. It will all be settled. Don't worry." So he was seen as a man Friday who can handle the various factions of Taliban, Mullah Bardar, and especially Bardar and the Haqqanis rivalry. And he did it reasonable. So he was a man Friday of Imran Khan those times, where he said he's the one who actually will manage the Taliban. So he also said that they are or we are Taliban would be our proxies, that strategic depth stories, whatever they still believing. But eventually, when the power struggle came, so he was out of the race. So we got Asim Munir as a new chief. So there was the government change in between, which Bajwa engineered. General Bajwa also didn't want him to become his successor. He was the most eligible person, in fact, because the one thing which he lacked during those times was he never had a corps commander's tenure, so he was sent to Bawalpur. He was one of the eligible candidate, I would say. But politics played the other way. Imran Khan himself was thrown out. and then a puppet government, new puppet government with all the masalas and spices mixed up with Bhuttos and Sharif family coming together with a lot of other parties. So now we have got a government which is in health. So naturally, this gentleman was made powerless because his puppet was thrown out. So later actually sought for an early retirement. So he took an early retirement along with another lieutenant general who was their chief of staff. Later, this was expected that he would join PTI because Imran Khan, with his scandals, corruption cases, and the Official Secrets Acts violation. So that makes him disqualified for 5 years minimum. So that is the next news we'll be getting to hear from Pakistan. In that case, somebody has to lead the party and somebody has to hold it. So Imran Khan's plan is to hit the streets. He will be that street politician who will create that ruckus and who will try to pressurize the existing government. And somebody has to take care of the party and the party strategies, which is none other than Faiz Hamid. So that's the play. So basically, this guy cannot straight away contest in elections because there is a 2 year bar as per the Pakistani rules. Like if you get out of the government service, you need to wait for 2 years is a cool-off period, post which you can contest in elections and all this. So they are basically preparing for the next election, where if Imran Khan gets disqualified or he gets killed or he gets exiled, all three possibilities of Pakistani politics, then Faiz Hamid takes over. The other thing is about this guy is he has quite a fan following in terms of the Pashtun supporters of Pakistan. And he has good, this gentleman comes from Baluch regiment. So he has good amount of Baluchi soldiers. The Pakistani soldiers who come from Baluch, he's a colonel of the regiment, so they do have a certain amount of this thing. So if you pit a politician versus a army establishment, the Pakistani history says it's always the army establishment which has always won. This is the first time they're trying to change the strategy, where a retired army general comes into politics, he becomes a politician, and then he fights the army establishment. So that's a new strategy which they're adopting. And given the background, there is one more, a grave point which is in place for quite some time. We need to see about Imran Khan's third wife, Pirni Bushra. We call them as Pirni Bushra because she is supposed to, Pakistanis believe she has a miraculous healing power where people go for healing. So if you look at the background, one thing was said that she herself was planted by Faiz Hamid to control Imran Khan. If Imran Khan acts funny, then he can be overthrown and he can take over the government. He can create a new puppet and run the government. So she was herself an plant in the Pakistani politics. The very interesting story about this female is that she is claimed to be a descendant of a Hindu Rajput king, Raja Jaisal. Raja Jaisal actually was a king of Jaisalmer, which is currently in Rajasthan. So they have this Rajput lineage. Later they got converted somewhere in the 14th century, I believe. So they have this very strong Rajput Punjabi connection. Now, how did this marriage happen? That's a very, very interesting story. She is called as a Pirni. Pirni is nothing but a healer, or they call her also a Pinky Bushra. Pinky Bushra is supposed to be the healer, a spiritual healer who's very famous in Pakistan. So Imran Khan, 6 months before he became the prime minister, 7 months before he was the prime minister, he wanted to have a spiritual healing. It's very, very interesting. So after Jemima Goldsmith, we all know. Then the TV anchor Raham Khan. Yeah, Raham Khan, we all know. This is the third one, where Imran suddenly wanted to have a spiritual entitlement, and she went and met her. But custom-wise, she wears a full burqa. They got in touch with each other, and then one fine day, she said that Prophet Muhammad came in my dream, and he told me to marry Imran Khan. So this was the another miracle of Pakistan, where you know this is a story which was told. The Pakistanis do make a lot of memes in it. So after that, this marriage was decided, and Imran Khan said, "I have never seen my wife till the marriage, because she always used to cover her face with the veil. I never got to see her face. There's only one childhood photo which I got to see hanging in her home when I went there. So it was a nice, cozy love story of a guy and the Pinky Bibi. And then
But
finally,
she was married to somebody else, wasn't she?
yeah, she was married to an ex-customs officer.
Hmm.
Later, she had the dream, and post the dream, she married Imran.
So they divorced the other one, or what
Yeah,
happened?
she got divorced, and later on, she married Imran Khan.
So what does the lady say, Major Madan? Sorry to cut you off again and again. Does she also say talak, talak, talak?
I think triple talaq is not allowed in Pakistan.
I see.
We batted for it. I don't think so. Triple talaq is allowed. It is a legal. I think it's a legal divorce where she said. Now, uh, both of them have never met each other. Imran, for all the people on Imran in the world in Pakistan, somebody like Imran Khan goes for a spiritual enlightenment. She goes and meets a healer, and that's why they get to know. And finally, down 6 months, they got married in a simple wedding ceremony. I think they got married in Lahore. And later on, when Imran Khan took over, she was actually becoming a power center. So a lot of government appointments, the transfers, and a lot of other stuff kept happening. Whoever want to lobby with the government, so they took through the Pinky Bibi's route. So, at one point of time, there was a news in the Pakistani media that there are strong differences between Imran's third wife Pinky and Imran. When this thing happened, there was a paid campaign. If I remember, I forgot the year. I think somewhere in 2019. I think there was a paid campaign which was run by PTI to show that they are the best couple in the world and they don't have any fight. And she is a healer and she has got nothing to do with politics and this thing. But Imran's the 3 year period of his rule as a role as a prime minister, this female was always there in one or the other headline, somewhere linked to this. And she had her later, I forgot his name. There's one Pakistani journalist who's based out of UK who wrote an anonymous blog, a prodigy blog, that this female itself was planted by Faiz, and she's basically her mole in the Pakistani establishment, being a prime minister's wife.
Major Madan, we have a link to that YouTube file and we are going to put that in the description section. So viewers, after this program finishes, you can go and access to that. Please continue, sir.
So now, in the there's one interesting story about how the Pakistani elections got conducted in 2018 when Imran became the PM. So Imran didn't add the number, and PTA was still not an established party. It was a party seen as to be fighting for the tribal rights, the Pashtuns basically, and it had pockets of support from the Punjabi lobby, but basically it was not a party which can gain its own majority. Now Faiz had his own deep state. He was having a own team of his ISI goons. Well, a lot of smaller parties, the 1 MP, 2 MP parties, they all were forced to join Imran Khan's alliance. And there were live videos where the money was distributed by ISI, including Pakistani Rangers, to their voters. And a lot of this ballet box, shifting, hijacking, and all this happened. And finally, when the result got announced, Imran Khan won as a prime minister. So he was dead against Nawaz Sharif. He was one of the important person who influenced their judges as well, in who were responsible for the exile of Nawaz Sharif. So from there on, he was also a medium, and this guy was also a medium to convince General Bajwa that Imran would be our best tomboy. So he is not going to go against us. So he will listen to us. But eventually, that's because the confidence on Imran Khan with the Punjabi lobby was built basically by this guy Faiz Hamid. Finally, when they took over, the government was on, and all was good, all was well. But the day when Bajwa decided to change the ISI chief, that's where the trouble brewed in. That's what we spoke in detail about the ISI chief change. So Imran wanted him to be the ISI chief, and subsequently to be the successor of General Bajwa. So his next 5 year of term with his good friend Faiz being the chief of army, and he being the prime minister, and decimate all the opposition and rule forever. That was a plan which was there, but eventually every plan of every Pakistani politician or the dictators who come from the army, every time it fails. Similarly, this also failed. So he was forced to take an early retirement. Now what we get to see is a plan in case Imran Khan is disqualified for breaching Official Secrets Act and corruption and so scams and so and so. So this guy is going to take over the party regime. They have 3 more puppets inside the party who are very much in control of affairs. So one of them will be the prime ministerial phase, or even eventually end up becoming a prime minister. And post 2 years, he may take up the chair as a prime minister. And we can very much, somebody can record this video. If that happens, we can very much clearly see what will be the future of Imran Khan. Nobody hands over the power back to him, especially in
So,
Pakistan.
are these stalwarts Shah Mahmood, Asad Umar, and Parvez Khattak?
Yes,
Khattak?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, okay, okay. So that was what was the slide was showing, so that it kind of syncs up correctly. Very good, very good. So I'm sorry to again butt in. I just thought that we should establish the context. Please continue, sir.
So now it is very clear, sir. And now the very interesting thing is uh, there are a lot of audios and videos. Very, very interesting. That's why I say Pakistani politics is all spiced up. You get money, corruption, lust, love, you name anything, it is there in Pakistani politics. So each of the camp, one which is done by Faiz and Imran Khan, they do have explosive videos and audios. Very, very confidential one, which can literally get the country into a civil war kind of a scenario. And Nawaz Sharif son, brother, Shabazz Sharif and co, along with General Bajwa, they do have certain amount of clear evidences of corruption and money laundering and stuff against Imran Khan. Now this is being played like one card at a time. One releases one audio, the other camp releases another audio. This has been going on. So when
Hisab
this puppet
barabar.
yeah, when the puppet government finally when they eventually get into election mode, we will have multiple shows in P Gurus. Certain videos which I get to know from my sources, it has to be edited. We cannot publicize it, but it is going to be quite interesting. And the good thing about all this is nobody in Pakistan, including the people of Pakistan, majority of the population of Pakistan, is bothered to care about their own economy, their own security challenges. Tehreek Taliban and the bad Taliban is Tehreek Taliban, and the good Taliban is Afghani Taliban. Both these guys, good and bad, are giving them left, right, out, and center in their western border. On the other hand, Baluchis, led by BLA, Baluch Liberation Army, Baluch Resistance, BRA, they are giving night mass in Gavadar. The port was set on fire. 12 odd ships got burnt off. Then they went off and said, no, it was a short circuit and it was not a sabotage or stuff and stuff. And we get to see the Chinese apartment, which was nicely built in Kabul, facing a terrorist attack. People from that place, Chinese jumping out of windows, where essentially Pakistan gave assurance to China that we will take care of your security in Pakistan and also in Afghanistan. The Durand line clash it's going haywire on the eastern border, which is our western border. In POK, it is simmering. It is just matter of time. They are like literally facing it. But finally, the summing up is we are a nuclear state. We have nukes, and we are a nuclear power, and we would have lost 1971, General Bajwa during his farewell speech said it was not because of army, it was because of politics. I don't see any evidence in the 13 days war where 93,000 people, judged by such a big force, surrendered so meekly. And I don't think so. There is any political reason to it. It is that you lost the will to fight. You are cowards of highest order. You surrendered your weapon and fought. You should have fought and you should have died. Now, this entire messiah of Pakistan, larger than life, they are the force to reckon with. The Pakistani army, slowly and slowly, what Imran Khan had done it, I would personally really appreciate him, or I would thank him on this. He decimated the image, so-called image of army. Brick by brick, it has been done. Most of the ex-servicemen of Pakistan, two or three of them, I know them personally. They also strongly support PTA. Enough is enough. We need to have this guy who knows the thing. He may be a political this thing. That's a different story altogether. But he enjoys the support base out there. And finally, in this entire joke of Pakistani politics, the next 1 year is all about videos, audios, files, allegations, and counter allegations. Who is better? Who is not? Who is the worst? And who is the worst of the worst? And their security scenario is too bad. And one thing good is happening for them is Saudi and US, and to an extent China, is giving them loans to bail them out so that they pay their salaries and run the government. But let's see, sir, how long this drama goes.
Yes, indeed, and let's wait and watch. And it's good viewing time. We can see all the sleaze being, washed out in public. So let's take a few questions, Major, and I have about 5 or 6 so far. Here we go. First question is the entire Afghanistan united in its war against Pakistan, or only Pashtos have declared enmity towards Pakistan?
See, it's not entire Afghanistan. The Afghanis, we know the demographic mix, but majority, it's about Pashtun nationalism. Pashtun nationalism doesn't recognize the Durand line. The east of Durand line is Pakistan, and the west of Durand line is Afghanistan. So that they don't believe in that. They believe in Pashtun nationalism. Pashtun nationalism is coming up big way. They are hell bent and they're literally fighting Pakistan.
Thank you very much, sir. The next question is right here. Not an era for war, PM Modi's advice to Putin. How to tackle China's aggression with only reactionary response? Why can't India move aggressively?
See, reactive response, I slightly differ with this. This time, if you see the response, like let's take Galwan. Galwan, India's response was mirror deployment. You get 50,000 soldiers, we are also going to deploy 50,000. You get 10 tanks, we're going to get 10 tanks. We're going to get, you move your missile systems, we are going to move our missile systems. You've seen it. And till such time, China is not going to disengage. We are also not going to disengage. Both the troops, this is the third winter which Indian troops and Chinese troops are going to spend in that harsh climate. But this time, in what happened in Tawang, soldiers were outnumbered. They were taken to surprise. Indian army was well prepared. Indian intelligence was well prepared. Our soldiers gave them a very, very befitting response. India had actually crossed over inside China. We crossed the LAC. We went as close as 300 meters towards the Chinese post. Chinese soldiers got panicked and they have to fire in the air. Finally, we stay put there for quite some time and we return back. So this is not a regular response. It's an escalated and elevated response. A day after, our fighter jets were flying very, very closely in that area. Jorat Air Base was too active. Indian Air Force is conducting the largest military exercise of 2022, very, very close to that border. Third day, we saw Agni 5 being fired, and that too in a night mode for the first time. So these are all not a reactionary response. These are all stern response. You term it as stern responses. Aggressively, if you mean that it's a war, it's not a right time to go on a war with China. Our economy has just recovered. We have just put our step back in the growth path. War at this situation will not do anything good to us and also to China as well. It's not, and definitely it is going to take us back at least 20 years. Just imagine a war between a smaller nation like Ukraine and seventh largest economy like Russia. Every one of us, entire Europe, US, Asia, a lot of countries are feeling the pinch. We have inflation up 8%. Certain countries are at 12%. High energy prices. Everybody is suffering. Now imagine a second largest economy, China, and fifth largest economy, India, fighting with each other. The world is going to head in a recession. So this is a local issue. We have given them a response. Now the template, the strategy is ready. Any future aggression from China, we will give a slightly elevated response. That's going to be our strategy.
Thank you very much for that. What happened to the 12 captured soldiers during this skirmish?
They were returned back, sir. After the
I
flag
see.
meeting, they were returned back.
I see, I see. But that point has been made that next time we are not going to be so kind. I mean, to capture 12 soldiers who intruded, so you said that India outnumbered them. They came in with 300 for one post, right? One outpost.
Yes.
And India's intelligence came through
So
and they were ready
300
for
is
them.
basically in Chinese military structure. 300 is one battalion.
I see, I
This is a
see,
well
I see.
planned this thing, but we outnumbered them. Our reinforcements were all quick. Like, that's a very very sensitive one, very confidential one. But we had our own strategies to outnumber them. And this time, those things, I hope, yeah, it has been recorded. We will get to know it at the right time. What we got to see was a 2021 video in the same place where Chinese soldiers were beaten up by Indians, sticks, and they went back, and Indian soldiers were cheering up. So that was to tell. This is where we were we were missing. We were more ethical. We were more we went by textbooks. It's high time we start releasing these videos and take them on in the propaganda war also. This is the time we
Yes,
actually set the narrative right.
yes, we have many platforms such as Major Madan's platform to release it too. So, excuse me. Biplab Sutradhar wants to know, after 51 years of independence from Pakistan, majority of new generation Bangladeshi hate Bharat because of massive root level radicalization by ISI. Why did Bharat let this happen?
See, we do influence, have our own influence in Bangladesh. We are a very very friendly nation. We are trade partners. We have a pretty open border. We don't have a closed border with Bangladesh. A lot of cultural exchanges do happen. But radicalization, yes, it is there. You will get to see more of this radical faces outside Bangladesh and India. Yes, there are attacks on Durga Pandals. There are attacks on Hindus. There were attacks on mandirs. I do agree to it. But on a scale, if you see, look at a scale, more of these incidents happened in West Bengal rather than Bangladesh. That's a fact. So it is not alarming. It's a matter of concern. Radicalization is not only India's problem; it's a world's problem today. So they have their strategy. They radicalized the Afghani youth, which is a very progressive country. Now they have been breeding them, and they are facing it. Similarly, they try to radicalize their own people. So they are facing, the Pakistanis, Tehreek Taliban now, Haqqani network, and so on. So there's a list of terrorist organizations. But how the level of radicalization is through a specific propaganda, which we are also closely watching. But eventually, those who are radicalized, they defy logic. You cannot get them back. It's a matter of concern for us. We are on to it.
Magnet Ranga wants to know, this seems to be a stage for a coup within the PTI. The level of coup seems to be reducing from taking over as president of Pakistan to taking over as chief of a political party.
See, Ranga, it's a backup plan. It's backup plan. We can expect Imran to be disqualified for 5 years to 10 years. That's a milder scale. Imran Khan being exiled, that's a moderate scale. Imran Khan being killed, which is their tradition. That's the third level of this thing. We don't know really what is happening. In that case, the PTI has already gained the momentum. There's a lot of protests, like a two level of yatras and whatnot they have done. So there is a momentum. There is an anti-incumbency, which somebody can go and reap it. So why you need to allow an outsider? So that's how bias comes into place here.
Now, next question. Srushti Suyash wants to know, with PM Modi promoting no war era, do we see taking back POK anytime soon or before the 2024 elections?
Sure, Shusti, it is when we say we take back POK, everything hasn't to be by textbook or by sending our military to conquer it or fight a war. Taking back doesn't always means war. There are other ways and means of doing it. Physical war, kinetic warfare is one of the measures. We are onto it. There are a lot of other things which goes on. Uh, Look at what happened in Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, the resentment went to a level where people couldn't tolerate it. And finally, when their political leaders, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, people were arrested. So people went and, there's a rebel group called Mukti Bagini, which came into play. And we supported a legitimate democracy. Out here, similarly, POK, who's been brutalized or their wealth has been ruined by the Pakistanis, the mainland Pakistanis, and also by the Chinese. People's power comes up. That's the beauty of democracy or any form of rule, be it communism or anything. So that's the way we will go close to it. Yes, there may be a limited military action to conclude.
Thank you very much, Major Madan. And next question from Vinayak Kamath. Will Pakistan army tolerate the nonsense of Imran Khan when they are bothered about TTP, Taliban, Baloch, Pashtun nationalism, POK tension?
See, they don't have an option. If they let PT Imran's party to come back with a thumping majority, that's the end of story. It's actually good to the country. Anyway, one form of democracy is coming up. You need to know what Imran Khan is doing now. He's pitting his enemy is Pakistani army establishment, the top generals. He's not talking anything against a soldier. He's not talking against anything against a Pakistani junior rank officer. He talks about the top generals. When you take the head-on, establishment head-on, the Pakistani army is supposed to be the messiah, the glorious, selfless soldiers who fight for the country. When you win, it clearly means that people have lost faith on their establishment called army. That's a death knell. They'll not let it happen. These tensions all will keep happening. Ground level officers of Pakistani army, the soldiers, end of the day, the poor soldiers give up their lives. They'll keep doing it, but they will not let this happen. They'll have to take Imran Khan head on. And that's how you saw the strange thing of the ISI and Pakistani army generals coming on media and speaking about how good the army professionalism is. We don't get into politics. And they spoke against Imran Khan, who's an opposition leader. It never happens in history.
Very interesting. Next question, sir. Chakravyu Bedi wants to know, there are reports that ISKP recently targeted MSS agents inside a hotel in Kabul. What are MSS agents doing in Afghanistan? Can you please explain these acronyms?
Okay, it's talking about IS, what do you call that? ISIS, Khorasan province, ISKP.
Okay, okay.
IS Khorasan province, and the MSS is basically the Chinese intelligence guys.
Chinese
So,
intelligence. Got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
So we heard about, we had the Taliban establishment on one side and the Chinese foreign affairs minister on the other side. We visited Beijing and the nice handshakes happened. So Afghani Talibans believe that China will do some investment and it will boost up their infrastructure, so on, so on, so on, so. So it's about that big myth of $3 trillion wealth under the Afghani soil and all this. So whenever a country like China or even India, when they go and want to establish something, a business or infra in a very hostile nation, this is very, very highly unstable. Their intelligence agency is the first one to put the step there because they need to know what is there and they need to manage the Taliban factions. That's how this guy got caught. And they were targeted, and a couple of them got killed as well.
That's true then. Next question, Krishnan VI wants to know, in your last DGI you said it is right time to attack Pakistan to get POK back. Is it that weak in Pakistan now?
See, that's what I'm saying. Attack pure kinetic action is not needed. We are ready. Our war gaming is ready. We repeatedly do war gaming. We repeatedly do exercises, war exercises. We rehearse, we practice. So we find out our fault lines. We continuously improve. Those things are ready. It is on. There's no doubts. So when to do it and how much should be the escalation is the thing. So currently in this total chaotic political situation, this is this basically, if to put it in a simple language, this has to ripe a bit more. It is too early to cut the fruit. It has to ripe a bit more. When you see Baluchis fighting against the Pakistani establishment, Baluchis fighting against ISI deep state. When POK, the Kashmiris go to that level and then they start fight. Today we see massive protests and some protests turns violent. These things keep happening. But when it goes to the next level of armed conflict between the people, Kashmiris there and the Pakistani establishment, it's like our union territory. It's a governed area. It's not a autonomous elected prime minister, chief minister who comes in. When that happens, that's the time we need to strike the chord. We'll have to wait a little bit more.
And the next question is from Nagarajan Srinivasan. He wants to ask, in 1971, Operation Trident Indian naval vessels bombarded Karachi oil depots. Today we saw oil reserves being set on fire. Is there a comparison here?
Thanks to Baluchis, so after 50 years, it is not needed for us to send our expensive warships to bomb them. They themselves are doing it.
We have the last three questions and then we will wind it up. Next question from GTR. Major Madan, you may have seen the Pakistan FM, some fellow called Billo or something insulted the PM of India. Seems Pakistan is cornered with respect to terror. What is your view? Is Pak disintegrating?
See, Bilawal Bhutto, Pakistani politicians and Pakistani, the Aam Aadmi trolls him as Pappu of Pakistan. The answer to this is very, very simple. There's a lot of similarities you can see in his speech and our opposition leader Rahul Gandhi ji as well. A lot of similarities, comparisons were made in the past. How they, make that explosive this thing, speeches, which you can take it as a good joke. So what he has actually done by commenting on a prime minister of a country, a statesman with such a level of popularity and power in the world, that you put yourself down. So what is the role of a Pakistani foreign minister, Bilawal Bhutto? Take a begging bowl, go to nations, beg, please give us this. A few days before they went to Saudi, and Saudi gave them blankets. They are not having blankets. They said take 100 crore, 200 crore of blankets. His role cannot be compared with our foreign minister Jaishankar. No, he visits countries. He speaks about development, partnership, trade, bilateral, and so on. So climate change and so on. This guy is basically go and beg. So he is a Britain educated guy. He speaks some good language. So we cannot, we can, ignore this. I would say we ignore these idiots. It's not worth even to be talked.
Next question from Magnet Ranga. The government is fighting war on three fronts. One, Chinese, second, Pakistan, and one, opposition. Is the government handling internal issues well?
See, internal issues will be there. You can't expect an opposition party to sit quietly and clap for whatever the government does. The democracy works this way. BJP did it when they were in opposition. There was a very, very powerful opposition. Similarly, opposition parties will try to pick up one or the other issues. Nothing wrong. It's actually a good thing for democracy. But issues on national interest, where the national interest comes, like security issues, integrity issues, border rules, that's the time we all need to unite. There's no, you cannot really play a politics in it. They have not learned it. 2019, when there were few other politicians like Arvind Kejriwal and a couple of others were mocking the Balakot strike after Pulwama, show us the video proof on this thing. The election results show this is actually benefiting the government. The more and more you do it, the more and more you belittle your forces, The more and more you make a mockery out of the defense forces, there is a very very thin line to distinguish between the ruling criticizing the government government of the day, and to the forces. The Indian armed forces are basically the nation's forces. We are not PLA loyal to a particular political party, right? So the more and more they do it, it's actually benefiting the ruling party here, which is BJP. They are not understanding it. They have a very very limited audience. People are no more fools. People are patriotic. People are highly nationalistic in the current era. This is not going to work. Beyond that, arresting them, muzzling them, that is not going to work in any democracy. The moment you muzzle them, their voices are going to be much more louder. We are going in a very decent way, I would say. But protests like CAA, people trying to throng into Red Fort, I think those are the places where we should have handled it with a much more iron fist. That's my personal opinion.
And Trey Jones wants to know US is preparing social media and influence operations to dislodge Modi in 2024. How can this be handled?
See, every elections, this has been, if you remember 2014 elections, there was a conspiracy theory about the voting machines being influenced remotely, and they tried to bring back Congress on power. The entire country was moving towards Modi's popularity. Prime Minister Modi's wave was there. So these things keep happening. So this algorithm changes, and putting down one view, promoting another set of view. This has been happening. It is not such, that it is not happening. But to counter this, what they are doing actually is one best example I would say is Namo app. If you download Namo app, it gives a complete data-driven, facts-driven thing about what are the welfare schemes, where are we heading, what are the new schemes announced, what is our fiscal health, what is India doing in defense, agriculture, so on so. And I don't know the exact viewership of that app, that has got a quite far reach. And above all this, the social media helps you in setting the narrative. To a larger extent, it basically it helps us to create perceptions. But beyond which, the actual elections are won on ground. The actual elections, real elections are won on ground. And BJP has got a very, very strong 24 into 7, 365 days fighting machinery. I hope so they will overcome this particular challenge.
And this is the last question. Paramveer Singh wants to know, Major Madan, Pak is on the verge of bankruptcy. Can we expect public to now finally form a stable government, though they haven't learned anything since 1971?
No, they are not at the verge of bankruptcy, Parmeshwar. They are already bankrupt. Their forest reserve is almost nil. Their fiscal deficit is high. You take any economic parameter, they are doing worse. Currently, they are surviving because of the money, given by Saudis. The money they went and given by China. You won't believe, they went and sought aid from Palestine. Can you believe? A war-ravaged country, they went and begged for ambulance. Give us ambulances. Now, when you have floods, let's take any country. When you have floods, there are a lot of African nations where when India said that we will give you this, they said, no, we need only this much. Don't give us more. We'll manage. It's about a country's prestige. It's about a country's, nishan. But here, they advertise this flood to the entire world. There is a there's a targets given to this Pakistani embassies and ambassadors and all these influencers. They went and showed this entire flood ravaged video of Pakistan, and they were trying to get whatever they can, in the sense like atta, chawal, wheat, right from your blankets to anything. So that's the level of economy which Pakistan is in. But will the people revolt put them back into a good governance mode, which the government which speaks about development, people willing to develop? I don't think so. It will happen unless or until these people have a right leader. They don't have a right leader. Imran Khan seems so, a lot of people there, but they don't have a right leader. Unless or until a revolution happens in Pakistan, this is nowhere near reality.
Thank you very much, Major Madan. And we have covered quite a bit of topics today, and we have to wait and see if Faiz Ahmed finally, succeeds. Somebody mentioned that Tariq Fatah also had told about Bushra Bibi being an ISI plant. Tariq Fatah has also said that every performer, every entertainer, every movie star that comes out of Pakistan is debriefed by ISI before they leave for India or to some locale where they may be shooting, and when they come back. So that is the life of any celebrity or a mega star in Pakistan. Very unfortunate. But that is what it is. These people are relentless. I mean, Pakistani government is a puppet in the hands of the establishment. At least I'm glad that Imran Khan is shaking that up and he's giving them
Absolutely.
a good shake. I mean, fruits are beginning to fall now. So I think that's a good development as far as for the people of Pakistan. They're getting to see some of the chinks of the armor, the chinks of the army coming through. And well, we'll wait and see, and we'll be back with more such interesting developments. Thank you once again for all your support. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button. And Major Madan, namaskaram, sir, and we'll be back again with you very soon.
Namaskaram, sir. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.